In this episode, we're discussing intuition and your health. We talk about how you can use your own intuitive powers to help guide and make decisions about your own personal health care. We talk about how this approach should be this and that, not this, not that. We talk about how to use your clairs and some other great tips on how to use intuition for your health.
Let's talk about what intuition really is.
Let's look at all the places intuition and ego show up in your life.
Let's share honestly.
Let's do the research.
I'm Jamie Hayhurst.
I'm Heather Wood.
This is the Intuitive Girls Guide.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
So this week we're going to talk about intuition and your health. And I had so much trouble naming this episode because everything makes it sound like I'm describing like medical mediumship, which we are going to touch upon and is so cool. I think we've talked about it in episodes before, but I want to talk about it with your own body, in your own life, how you navigate your own physical health while using your intuition. And the thing that makes me feel like this is such an important topic is because you have to really sort through the shit to find the real answers.
Yes.
It's just, you go to how do I use my intuition with medical stuff, or you listen to some other people talk about it. And it's also very dramatic and misleading. And of all the things we've ever gone to talk about, I feel like this one, I don't want to say it's the top, but it's got to be top 5 of not represented correctly.
Yes. I also feel not to make everything political.
How can you not make everything political all the time?
Everything's political.
Yeah.
Everything's always been political, but it certainly is.
Certainly right now. Yeah.
But exactly. I think that this is such an important topic always, but certainly it's very timely now because you're seeing the whole MAHA movement and the RFK Jr. thing happening.
Yep.
That is everything with that administration is an extreme version of issues that happen in this community that we are a part of, right?
100%.
You're seeing this all or nothing, this black or white, you're seeing that in that. And when I watch him talk and I watch people on social media who agree with him, it's oh, you have no ability to actually tap in and figure out what feels right to you.
Yes.
And what feels right in your body.
Yes.
And you're really scared about one side.
Yes.
So you're just swinging to the other side.
Yes. And
then you get a measles outbreak.
Yeah. Shocker. And then they have to admit that the vaccine would actually help. Yeah. Oh, yes. And I think all of that is right on. And I think in addition, it's very obvious to me and to you, but probably not to the people who have been paying attention to the patriarchy chess moves the whole time. And I don't mean that judgmentally. I just mean we've been experts on this for quite some time. That the reason that they're shifting and doing this whole MAHA thing is because the current healthcare system in America is so broken.
Right.
And so far gone that they can't do anything except go up against it.
Yes.
And instead of going up against it in a way of let's get rid of the things that aren't working and make it work, they're going, let me see how I can benefit from this. Let me see how I can make money off of these Americans and their healthcare.
Right. And if I can trick you all into thinking that you don't need healthcare, you don't want it even,
and it's bad,
right? Then it won't matter that this system is broken.
And people are so ripe for that, like you were saying before, because I don't want to speak to the healthcare in other countries because I'm not educated enough to do that. So I'm going to speak about it only in America, but I suspect it's not exclusive. Anywhere that has patriarchal beliefs and culture, you're going to see stuff like this. But here, the medical system has gone so far to like screwing over everybody.
Oh yeah.
And it's so corrupt. And I'm not talking about like the medical professionals, like the doctors and nurses that are in there. Obviously there are some bad ones, but I'm talking about the systematic problems with it, that everyone wants to turn and go like, yeah, it stinks.
Right.
And people would love for there to be like, well, here's why. Here, let's just paint it as the bad guy. But what we really have to do is go in and just like change it.
Right.
It's like it's a full upheaval. And it's the same with like the police that you see, like people don't want to do that. So then it just becomes an argument of, well, they're bad or they're good, or we don't like this or we don't. And there's never any solution. Right. It's just two very polarized people screaming at each other. And quite often what you and I complain about in politics, even in our own Democratic Party, is that like you're spending so much time pointing out what's wrong.
Right.
We're aware, we're living in it.
Right.
How do we fix it?
Right. And at the end of the day, it's not an issue of like arguing over things. It's the fact that there are really rich people in the top 1% who won't let go of the healthcare system.
Yeah.
They won't allow it to crumble.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having a mad king.
Are paid off by them.
Exactly.
Like our politicians would allow it to happen, quote unquote, allow it to happen if this really was a democracy.
Yeah.
And it really was based on what their constituents really wanted.
Yep.
It's well known that the majority of Americans support universal health care.
Exactly.
But it doesn't matter because like the democracy isn't real. It's everyone's bought and paid for.
Yes.
And that's how capitalism works. That's why it's a death cult.
It is a death cult. You're right. Exactly.
And we're seeing the death of that cult now. Like we're seeing that this country is broken.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's really awful to watch, and it's also depressing and hard, but it's important to like keep asking questions and keep pressing like, well, what could be different? What could we do? No matter who you are, like keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that same attitude is exactly what you need to do with your own health.
Yes.
Especially using your intuition.
Correct.
So I kind of hope that in this episode, we sort of answer the question, like, how do you use your intuition to take care of your own health? I get asked that a lot. I know you get asked that, especially like in your Reiki days and all this kind of stuff. Like, and the answer is a whole episode.
Yes.
Because there isn't a just like one-off answer. If we operated in a different way and people understood intuition differently, it would be an easier answer.
Yes.
But it's not. So that's what I want to explore here. Yeah. Okay. So I want to mention, I sort of did already, but I want to go into it just a little bit, like medical intuitives, healers, mediums, and all those. I want to touch on it, but what we're talking about is different than that. However, there's lots of crossover here. So somebody who calls themselves a medical medium, I don't feel like I hear that term as much as I used to. I feel like about 10 years ago, that was like a big...
Yeah, and there was the book by the
medical medium. Yeah, exactly. So medical mediums are great. Yeah. Healers are great. Mediums are great. Like for your own health, absolutely seek them out. If they have a good reputation, you ask the right questions, you get the right vibes, all of that stuff. But what they're doing for you is something that you can learn to do for yourself. Does that mean you shouldn't go to them? No, because same as I could probably figure out my astrological chart myself, and I could probably do my own tarot. I could do my own tarot spread. I can talk to my own spirits. There is a huge benefit to having someone else do it for you. Of course. Absolutely. Of course. But what they are doing is tapping into their own intuition and picking things up about the person that they are using their gifts on, right? So like a medical medium, for example, you're going to tell them some things about your health, and they're going to use both their knowledge of the body. If they're good, they should have some of that, some sort of background there,
right?
And their ability to intuit stuff. And however they do that, we're going to talk about in this episode how you can do it with your clairs and all that. They're going to give that information to you, and together you are going to figure out what that means. Right. Okay. So people sort of think that when you're getting something intuitive for your own health or for anything, that it should be like that without any research or information. And that makes no sense and is the opposite of true.
Correct.
It should be a combination of those things.
It should be.
So It's really sort of like you were saying before. It's not this or that. It's this and that. So it's research and Googling and reading books. And it's also intuiting and seeing how something feels and what comes up for you. Like, it's all of those things. And it's also go to the medical medium, go to the healer, but also go to your doctor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, go to the doctor and get the labs done, get the information, and then use your intuition to tap into that and to see how all that feels and what it's doing in your body. It's not like, I can do this for myself. I can tap into my own health through my intuition, so I don't need doctors. Right. You don't have a lab.
Right.
And
if there's something going on with your health where something doesn't feel right, big scale or small scale, get all the information. Yes. You are the one that gets to make the decision. If someone diagnoses you with something or wants to do some sort of procedure that you're not comfortable with, or you go to an intuitive healer and you don't feel connected to what they said, like all of that is information for you to decide what to do with, to use your own intuition and your own critical thinking abilities to make a choice.
Yeah. And I think we should also note that, like, there are just as many bad healers, bad intuitive people, as there are bad medical professionals.
Exactly.
Like, if you're someone who's like, I had a bad experience with a doctor, hey, me too.
Same.
Had tons of them.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that person who like felt yourself shifting away from the medical community because you've had bad experiences and there's trauma there and you don't trust that system, just know that you need to be just as aware of people in the intuitive community as you do in the medical.
Every cult documentary we have ever watched, which is a lot of them.
A ton.
And especially the ones that are like the woohooiest of the cults. There is an origin story of trauma in some department, in some part of the world, part of their own world.
Yes.
That has made them completely shut down about something.
Yes.
And go make it so they're prime to be targeted by someone in a cult. I'm thinking of like the Vow specifically with the NXIVM cult and how like they're really gaining all this information on you to see what your weak spots are and what your trauma is, and then using it to manipulate you.
Right, exactly.
So like when you have that attitude, and like, listen, both of us can relate. I've been there where I've been so frustrated with how I was treated in the medical world that I was just like, I'm never going to the doctors again.
Oh, I know.
Like, do you know what I mean? I 100% know that feeling. And both of us have been there and both of us have come back around. And it's not like we're just like, okay, well, we love medicine in America. It's great now. Right. You don't have to like, but it's about going like, am I having black or white thinking? Am I being like this or that? Am I being like this? These experiences shut me off from being open to something, because that's not intuitive.
No, it's not.
So it's about learning to move through that, getting support moving through that if you need it. But, you know, and being a good friend, if your friend starts doing that, I mean, give them a period of wanting to burn it all down. Yeah. For sure. But then you've got to be like, hey,
you need a physical.
Yeah, you did that to me.
And you went to yours this year and you were like, hey, I went to my physical.
I did. Like, I was so proud to tell you. Like, you didn't have to yell at me. You had to make me go the year before. Yeah. And then this year I went all on my own and you didn't have to make me. And I just was like, just went to my physical.
It was so good.
Yeah. You need that kind of support, because do I go in to a healer or to a doctor? Like, do I go into either of those and go like, whatever they say is gospel?
Exactly.
No. I mean, I watched my grandparents do that. It was bizarre. It's like a generational thing, right? Yeah. Like it's like the word of God to them or something. Right. I don't do that with either. I learned to like take it as information, put a little space there and think about it myself. So that's where we want to be. And trust me, neither of us do that perfectly. I'm not trying to be preachy about it, but it's about finding how to get yourself back to there.
And there are doctors that will do that with you. Like my primary care doctor, who I love.
Yeah.
He was very happy to be patient with me and to answer questions and to like wait on certain tests or wait on certain things and walk with me through that journey. Like, that's part of what being a good doctor is.
There are some fantastic doctors. You have a great primary care. I mean, he just retired.
He's retiring, I guess.
Jamie's abandonment issues are real heightened by that.
I took a selfie with him. It's fine.
She sent it to me. It. She really did. Yeah, you printed it.
Well, I mean, I was printing other photos. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that one too? Sure.
Yeah. I love it. I have a doctor I really like. We both have OBGYN that we love. Like, like there are fantastic doctors that will listen to you, that will not gaslight you, that will respect what you're saying, but also be honest with you.
Exactly.
So it's also about doing the really terribly hard and, for me, triggering and traumatic work of going like, this person isn't right for me. This person isn't treating me the way I need to be treated. That's very hard to do, to walk out of those rooms, to stand up for yourself in that way. But it's about doing that. And if you, unfortunately, if you are a woman, it's a lot harder.
Yep.
Because it's like we don't actually have any pain. Or it's just like, it's just, you're in your 40s.
Just like sit through things. You're programmed to just like, just sit and be polite and smile and just wait for the appointment to be over, when you actually have every right to just be like, I'm done here.
Yeah. If you need to fawn,
fine,
do it. But like, if
then
you don't,
done.
If you can say like, I don't actually feel like you're listening to me, or could you just put in my chart that you're not going to do that test I asked you to do? Like, that's powerful and that's great, but it's hard.
Yep.
And you will be gaslit a lot, like, especially if you're a woman in your 40s, because no matter what's wrong, it's perimenopause or menopause or your hormones,
and then
you're just old.
Get older.
Yeah, and then there's no help. There's no other step. It's just that. Yeah, so it's tough. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about our clairs, because if you're going like, how do I be like a bit more in tune with my own health or navigate this? This is where I would tell you to start. This is where I tell everybody to start anything intuitive. It's like the basics. It's the building blocks
of like intuition. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like it's really the place to start. And even if you feel like you know this, and this sounds overly simplified, I really invite you to sit in it, because what I see with people who are especially like experienced in using their intuition and the clairs is they get really stuck on one or two clairs and they don't keep going with the other ones.
Yep.
So if that's you, tune in and try these other ones. And if you're new to it, hang in too and see what works for you. Yeah. Okay. So there's no one size fits all here for using your intuition, using your clairs. Using your top two clairs, I'm going to tell you what they all are in case you're newer to us and you don't know. For anything, including your health, is like the place to start, of course. However, when it comes to your physical body and your clairs, there are two, matter if they're your top two or not, that are the ones that you would want to lean on. So everyone has a top two clairs that they're just like born a little bit more in tune with. So like I'm super clairvoyant. Like that one's so easy for me. You know what I mean? Claircognizance, that's just like you're so naturally attuned to it. But even you still have to do work on it. But it's just easier to do that work. Whereas like if I went to do like clairtangency isn't like a huge one for me. So that's like touching. Like I would have to do a lot more work on that than I would on clairvoyance. That would be easier. So that's how that works. But then there's also things where like, in this department of the world, in this part of life, using these clairs is like the easiest way to get where you're going. So for the body, it's clairsentience and claircognizance. Okay. And I think if you watch people who those are in their top two clairs, and I'm going to use you as an example of this in a minute, those people are better, in my opinion, at really knowing when the right thing is being said to them. Okay? Also when the wrong thing is being said to them. So where a doctor or healer or somebody might say something to me, I might instantly know it's right. But I'll probably need a little space to like really process it and like sit with it and like use my intuition, but also think it through. Whereas I think for you, if that same thing happened, you would instantly know it's right. You would want to go do more research to get more information, but you would know, yep, that's it. And you would feel it instantly. Okay. So those two are the best for that. And if you're naturally in tune to those, it's going to be easier for you. Okay. So let's talk about each of the clairs and how you can use them to like dig into your own personal health and what's going on with your body. I also just have to say that everything going on with your body is intuitive.
Oh, right. Yes. I was going to say we have episodes on all of these.
Oh, we do. Yes.
If you feel like you want to know more about
the clairs, yes.
all them as a whole, or each one, we have a foundational episode, and then we have a breakdown of all of them.
Yeah.
So
we go into detail on how to use those. So yes. Okay, so like I said, everything happening with your body is communicating to itself all the time intuitively.
Correct.
So you have to remember that when something is being communicated intuitively, it's not with thought. Okay, this is your brain thinking things and your body, yes, but everything that's going on is not thought-based. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So like,
but that's why they say that don't believe every thought you have.
Right.
Like I think that our country does such a bad job of
a lot of things,
but teaching emotional intelligence and critical thinking, which obviously go hand in hand.
Right.
We also have an episode on that.
We do.
That I think we get sort of just like the bare bones of emotional intelligence. And so I think it's very easy for a lot of people to think that their thoughts are what they're feeling. Yes. And that's not true. Those are not the same thing. It's like that your thoughts could be how your brain is interpreting what it's feeling, what its body is feeling.
Yeah.
But those two are not the same thing. And there's a lot can get lost in translation.
Oh, yeah.
Between the physical body feeling the feelings and the brain interpreting them through its own vows and blocks and traumas.
100%. Your thoughts are just information.
Right.
Some of them are truth and some of them are not.
Right.
I mean, if you've ever had a panic attack, which I've had quite a few, the things my amygdala freaks out about and the thoughts around it, I'm watching it like there's a ticker tape going. That's a very clairvoyant thing to say.
Sure is.
Going through my brain, it's going like, what are you talking about, brain? What?
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like just that. And I know you don't have to have panic attacks to have that experience, but like there's so many things that happens with. So you have to just go like, oh, this is information.
Right.
This isn't gospel. This isn't fact. This isn't
necessarily true.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And I just want everyone to be really proud of us because the amount we could go like on so many tangents about how the country on purpose and the patriarchy doesn't teach emotional intelligence. Like, just be so proud of us.
Well, you're like, seeing why.
We dodged that.
Not to do it's a tangent, but
it's
you're seeing why
too powerful.
Now.
Yeah. Okay, we're dodging it. We're dodging it, but it's hard for us. Okay. So let's start with clairvoyance. Why do we start with that one? Because that's my top one. So that's just the one that comes out of my mouth first all the time.
Well, and that's the only one that you hear about.
It's the only one people know.
Our culture,
yeah,
it's the only one you hear our culture or media talk about is clairvoyance.
I see dead people.
Everyone that's intuitive is clairvoyant according to like movies.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. And that's very far from true. By the way.
Right.
I think clairvoyance is the most like sexy one.
Well, yeah, and it's the easiest to present on screen.
Exactly.
Like, it's the easiest to like show.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So with your own health, if you wanted to use your clairvoyance, there's a few things that you can do. The biggest thing that I do as a very clairvoyant person, and it's not really something I ever was like, you know what I'm going to do? This is just something that happens. So if you are clairvoyant, maybe you already do this. If not, maybe you could like try this and see what happens. But when something's going on, the first thing instinctually I do is like with my body, I close my eyes and like, what does that look like? Like I literally try to picture like a stomach ache, or I literally try to picture a backache, and I get some sort of image. Yes.
I don't do that.
Right. Well, because clairvoyance isn't your top. Right. It's up there, but it's not your top. Yeah. So instinctually, I do that for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm super clairvoyant, but two, because for me, physical feelings, because I'm so, I guess what they'd call sensitive, Jamie, are very, like they take over.
Yeah.
So if something, even just like the little line on the sock, if it's not like right on my toes exactly, whatever else is happening is gone from me. All I can think about.
You are very sensitive. in general.
In every department, yeah.
You do have sensory sensitivities.
Exactly,
sure.
which go hand in hand with that, right?
With like intuitive sensitivities.
Yes, same as like someone walks in, their energy, it could be in like a ballroom, it could be in a warehouse. It hits me. I feel it. Yeah. I'm affected by it. Like all of the things. But the point being, like, it's not just something that I can keep going.
Right.
My whole attention is on a problem or something feeling out of whack or imbalanced. Right. Yes. So it's sort of like a way to manage it. It's a way to, like, instead of it just being a bother, something that I'm now tuning into to find a fix. Okay. So clairvoyant people tend to use imagery to make sense of what intuitive, energetic stuff is coming into them. So if you have something going on physically and you're trying to be like, self-diagnosing, like what's going on, what's happening in my body, right? And whatever kind of language you use, like what's wrong with me, I don't love that, but like what kind of illness do I have, what sort of imbalance, disease, like whatever works for you. And you start like asking questions. That's what intuitive people do, right? You are going to just go like, what could that look like? What sort of images come into my mind for that?
Interesting.
A lot of intuitive people, we like to close our eyes. Some intuitive people sort of do a weird stare off to the side. Yeah, you like soften your gaze. Whatever works for you, do that. And just see what comes up. Now, should you be like, well, I don't need to go to the doctors because when that was happening, I saw an image of a sailboat, so I know what to do. No, it's just part of the information.
Yes.
Additionally, your dreams will tell you a lot about what's physically going on in your body. Your dreams love to communicate to you about your body.
I have a dream to ask you about after.
Oh, okay. So just a couple of quick dream things. And again, we have episodes on dreams.
We do.
Anytime that you dream about a vehicle of any kind, that is representing the way you're journeying. So if you're going from point A to point B and like the appearance of the vehicle you're in is like real rough, that could be saying like the way you're going from point A to point B is like too stressful. It's not like not working out. So that stress is playing a part in your illness.
Right.
If you're in any sort of a building, that's usually representing your physical body. So where are you in the building? What's the state of the building? Right. Is it something that you thought was your childhood home in the dream and you woke up and realized that wasn't my childhood home? Why did I think it was my childhood home? Right. All of that represents things for you. If you dream about like mice or rats, that is your body telling you intuitively that it thinks there's some sort of illness, disease, virus. Okay? Like all kinds of things. Right. So if you're like trying to figure out what's going on with your health, write down your dreams and then figure out what they mean. Look it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Clairvoyance will help you with that. Now, some people don't have vivid dreams like that. That's okay. It just means your clairvoyance isn't as attuned to you.
Right.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Clairaudience. One of my favorite ways to use this is to, that moment. And I feel like every human, no matter if clairaudience is in your top or not, has experienced this. When all of a sudden someone, maybe they're talking to you, maybe they're not even, but like you kind of just get locked into what they're saying. Like it just grabs your full attention and you get that like almost full body chills feeling. That whatever they're saying there is really important.
Yes, exactly.
In addition, like I'll notice sometimes when I'm like wondering about something, I feel like this happened when I figured out that I probably have Ehlers-Danlos. And all of a sudden, everywhere I went, people were talking about that.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, interesting. Like as a further, does it mean like, forget it, I don't need to get officially diagnosed? No, but it's like, look here.
Confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So doing that, also just like listening, like do any words come to mind? Reading different, like could it be this? Could it be that? Like are you feeling grabbed by any of those words when you say them? Do any of them feel different? That's all using your clairaudience.
Yes.
And again, it's information. Okay. Clairsentience. So what does it feel like in your body? This is a big deal. And this is one that like doctors will actually ask you about.
Right.
But you probably haven't said aloud until you say it to a doctor. Like there have been times where a doctor would ask me or a healer would ask me or you would ask me like, what does that feel like? Or like describe that to me. And when I say it, I'm like, huh. Like there's something in there that just made me realize something in the way that I described it. That to me is just like really like, what does it feel like? And how do you talk about what that feels like? That's big clue.
Yeah.
You know, like I have like my IT bands, which is like runs along the side of your leg to like down into your knee, to your ankle, to your hip, like will get just sort of bothered, right? And when I was first trying to figure out what was going on, it was affecting my knee. And I was like, why does my knee hurt like this? And when I was thinking about how it felt, I was like, it feels like my knee's being pulled, but that my knee isn't the problem.
That's exactly what it was.
And then when I did further research, I was like, oh, that's exactly what an IT band
was.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I was literally just tuning into how it felt.
Right.
Okay. Claircognizance. We have the queen of that here. Claircognizance is a super powerful tool for this, but it's I think the hardest one to self-learn.
Yes.
Because it's not, it's so internal.
Correct.
And it so feels
it's subtle.
Normal. Yeah, it's subtle. And if you are very in tune with it, you have been in tune with it since you were a baby. Right. So you just don't, it's really hard to separate when that's happening versus just like a thought or something outside of you coming in.
It's easy to doubt it.
It is. So it takes practice. I think claircognizance is best used when you also develop another clair to support it.
Yep.
So it sort of is your sort of confirmation, like when you're saying when you doubt it.
Yep.
But have you ever been told you have something like, oh, or a doctor being like, I think it's just this, and immediately your body was like, no, that's claircognizance going like, that's not right. We know something. I can't put it into any words, but we definitely know that's not the right thing.
I've stormed out of doctors' offices because of those feelings.
Yes, yes. And it's important to give them permission.
And I was right, by the way.
Of course you were right.
You know what I mean? It took me a while to get there, but I was right.
I have never heard anyone in my entire life say their gut feeling about their health was way off of what was really going on.
Right.
It's always the other way around.
Yeah.
So, okay. Clairtangency is like literal touching, putting your hands on something, doing that to your own body. You know, I like to, this won't shock you, but we're definitely the opposites in this. Like when I go to acupuncture, I like to ask a lot of questions the whole time.
Oh, yeah, no.
I bet you are just like silent.
100%.
Yeah, okay. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what does this mean? How come I felt like this when you just did that? Like I'm like a petulant child, like a 2-year-old saying why the whole time.
Right, yeah.
Okay, because I'm so...
You're interested. You're not doubting them or judging them. You just want to know.
I want to learn. I want you to tell me all the information.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned in being that person is like the parts of your body that are frequently like a different temperature than the other parts is your body trying to tell you something. It's not good or bad. But for example, I am usually nice and warm, but if I touch my stomach with my hands, like the skin, it's very cold. Okay. So if that's going on, there's some sort of flow issue happening. So one of the things that she would say would be like, if something feels off, put your hands on it. What does it feel like? What's the temperature? So it doesn't even have to be like you're divining this amazing message when you touch yourself. It's just like, what does that mean to you? What do you pick up when you have this additional information?
Yeah, you're just literally being in touch.
Yeah.
Just in touch with your body.
And you do this naturally. I just think like if you've ever fallen down and like scuffed your knee, what do? You like immediately put your hands on top of your knee. Like you hurt yourself, you immediately put your hands on it. That's intuition, that's instinct, and it's also clairtangency.
You know what else is that you just taught me?
What?
Is that there are so many times where like I found something like nothing like deadly or whatever, but like I would like touch a part of my body and feel like a bump or like a cut or something. And I'd be like, why was I touching that part of my body? Like if I'd never touched like over here, I never would have even felt that. Why was I doing that? Because I was using my intuition without knowing it.
Without thought, you were drawn to
that
part of your body.
Right. So then I'm aware of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's really interesting stuff too. And unfortunately, it's just like conversational at this point. And because we don't fund things like this, there's not research for me to give you to back it up. But there's really interesting stuff about like even the parts of your body that you hide, like in clothing, like that you're insecure about. Aside from just like standardized beauty telling you like you have to have a flat stomach and a thigh gap or whatever bullshit's trendy at the moment, like aside from that, there's something to like, what are you more like naturally
like you're bracing it, covering it.
Yeah, like there could be something going on there that you're protecting.
That makes sense.
Okay, so like again, very interesting conversation and all things to consider.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sort of, when you're using your intuition, believe it or not, you have to sort of become a researcher.
Yeah.
You're gathering as much information as you can, and then you're deciding how to organize it and what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, and then we have two that I love to talk about these, but no one ever does. Clairgustance and clairalience.
Yep.
So clairgustance is using taste. So it's intuitive or psychic taste. Again, we don't love that term, but that's what's being used.
Yep.
So this actually is used all the time in diagnosing people, because there'll be times where you're like, I have this weird taste in my mouth, or this. I knew I was pregnant both times because I tasted like I was sucking on a piece of metal.
Really?
And I was like, why does it feel like my mouth is full of metal?
Wow.
And that is a symptom of pregnancy.
Wow.
It's a hormone reaction.
Huh.
So like there's really interesting things. I think about how my aunt had to have surgery, and she had a tumor that was removed, and she's all fine now. But she went in and she was very anemic, so much so that she had to get a blood transfusion before the surgery. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they were asking her in diagnosing her anemia was like, do you like to chomp on ice chips? And the thing that's crazy about that is I was also very anemic, and I also at the time loved to chew on ice chips. Mm-hmm. And the reason isn't like a magical dove floated down. It's because when you're anemic, there's a reaction in your body that actually makes the roof of your mouth, like the temperature, warmer than it's supposed to be.
Got it.
So, or that it would be naturally is probably a better way to say that. So you have an instinct to like chomp and to cool it by doing that. Okay. So that is used to diagnose things. Like, and that is clairgustance.
And the intuition is your body knowing what it needs.
It's saying like, it's making you crave that.
Yeah. To alleviate that symptom, right?
Yes. Food cravings are the same thing. Like, what are you craving a lot? Your body's lacking that. It's trying to tell you something.
Right.
I mean, I crave potato chips all the time. Does my body need potato chips? No, but it's a reason it's wanting salt. You know what I mean? So like looking into that, that's all that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then clairalience, smell, again, a medically diagnosed thing. Do you ever smell smells that aren't there? Yeah, because I have hormones that don't like to stay, balanced. So yes, I do. But there's other medical things that diagnosis as well.
Yeah, and you also hear stories all the time of like dogs who can smell cancer, or like people who can smell that on other people, like smell illnesses. Or
I can smell a cavity.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
On yourself or anybody?
Someone else, not on
really?
Myself. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
See?
No one ever was like, oh, you're smelling a cavity. But I just knew, like, oh, I smell that smell. That person has a cavity.
Huh.
Yeah. Again, not everyone can do that. It just depends.
Right.
Do I know why that's developed? No. Do I think my purpose is dentistry? No. But for some reason, that sticks out to me.
Right.
Again, there's all these different things. Like, are you super drawn to a certain scent? What is it? Are you is it a certain plant? What are the properties of that plant? What kind of healing properties does it have?
Yep.
There's a reason. Some people love like really florally smells. I tend to love more earthy, grounding smells. Probably what I need. Like that's It's just about understanding those things.
Yep.
And I know that doesn't sound like, oh my God, write a book for us, you medical medium. Well, but it's actually things that you can apply in your life every day.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanna talk about intuition and ego when it comes to the body, but I think we should take a quick break and then we'll come back and do that.
All right.
We'll be right back after this short break. You know what goes great with podcast listening?
A great cup of coffee from a great coffee shop.
Yep, beans roasted in-house, amazing baristas. You know where I'm talking about.
Restoration Coffee. Can we go?
Yes, I need an Americano and maybe a panini too.
Ooh, I need blueberry maple latte and probably a resto bowl.
Ooh, yeah. Check them out and visit restoration-coffee.com.
Let's talk about what we're obsessed with this week. All right, Heather. This obsessed segment is just a rant. It's just a full-on rant of the Let Them Eat Space debacle, Blue Origin, whatever the hell, the absolute fuck up that is that travel into space with Katy Perry and Gayle King. And
it's so embarrassing to be an American sometimes. Like, I can't, I don't, you know me, I don't really get secondary embarrassment.
Oh, I do all the time.
Yeah, you're like the queen of it.
I am.
Yeah, you can't even watch stand-up comedy because you're
true,
triggered in embarrassment for other people. But like, I feel that way.
Ooh.
And it's probably firsthand embarrassment because I am an American, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, it's so cringy. It's so embarrassing. I keep thinking about, I mean, there's so many levels about like how awful this thing is, but I keep coming back to the fact that like celebrities have completely lost the plot.
Yeah.
And there had to have been someone in the room that said, hey guys, this probably isn't a great idea. And they decided to do it anyways. But I don't think any of them would have predicted what a colossal fuck up it became, like in media.
It's interesting that you said that about the celebrities, because one of my first thoughts, and I was especially thinking this about Katy Perry and Gayle King, because these are two of the women who have teams of people who work for them. Teams who have been media trained, who like know the stuff. Okay. This isn't just like I didn't know.
Oh no. But this had to go through so many people.
And my sort of thought on it is not so much that they just ignored it. My sort of thought is that they themselves don't have the right people around them.
Maybe.
Like they only want yes people.
Yeah.
You have to have no people in the room. You have to have people that are like, what the fuck are you doing? Right. Or like, hey, this might not, like, we have our ear to the ground and like, this might not go over well because like people literally can't afford groceries.
Yeah. Like, how about not now? Like, I get that going to space could be seen as cool.
Yeah.
And fun and exciting and a once in a lifetime opportunity, whatever, however you want to frame it. But like, not now.
No.
As the world is falling apart at the seams. People aren't eating. We have concentration camps, literal concentration camps where we're sending people from this country. Like, and you're going to take a fucking ride into space?
Yeah. And not to mention, but our planet is literally, like, climate change has caused so many problems. We're literally, like, still dealing with, like, flooding places. Like, it feels like every day there's a new like weather natural disaster. Right. And like, then you go up in space and like pollute more, but like we're also not allowed to have plastic straws. We have to drink out of those terrible paper ones.
Right. But you can take a trip to the fucking atmosphere.
Yeah. And it's actually perfect in the way that it's exactly what's going on in America.
Oh, it's a perfect microcosm
for
what's happening.
But it's just so wild to me that like, again, these people have not surrounded themselves with people who'd be like, what are you doing?
Well, like, and then the PR problem is that you then try to gaslight us into telling us that this is about like
inspired
women's empowerment. And that we're all just going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. There are 5 girls doing something. I got to be on board with this. That's not actually what feminism is. Like, that's not actually what like equity and diversity is.
And this is why feminism gets such a bad name.
Exactly.
Because of this this is performative and it's not real and it's not what, like, you're women who work in space, work for NASA, like their profiles are being deleted off the website. Their contributions are being erased.
Right.
I'm not making that up. That's actually happening.
Right.
And you're saying, calling yourself an astronaut and going up for 2, like, it's so mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So you've got Bezos' fiance, Lauren something.
Whatever. Sanchez.
Okay. We know that you're just there because Bezos funded this.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Then you've got Katy Perry. What the fuck is she doing there?
Well, she was promoting her album. Rather than like actually observing and looking out the window and like having like, you know.
Yeah.
She was like holding up little like signs and stuff of her upcoming album.
I know she was holding a daisy and that's her daughter's name or some bullshit, but it was so weird. And like, so you've got her. Okay. What is she doing for people? Nothing. And then you've got Gayle King. what the hell is Gayle King doing? It's not even like you took like the legit like inspiring people and put them. You put Gayle King. So she's a journalist.
I mean,
who's very well known as Oprah's best friend.
Right.
Which like she leans into. I'm not just trying to like.
No, I'm not shitting on her about that. Like, but she's a journalist. Like you would actually, for me personally, I expect more from Gayle King. I expect her to have more.
She should be more informed.
Right. I expect her to have more integrity about this than I would say like Katy Perry.
So you've got those three at the front.
Right.
Now you've got three other women on board, and one of them was like an astrophysicist. I can't remember what the other one was. But there is one person on board that this should have been all about.
Yes.
And no one's talking about her. It's like Amanda Nugent. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Amanda. Who like her whole story is amazing. I don't want to just get into that. But like, hello, Bezos's PR team. You're so out of touch that you didn't make this about her. No. She was going and you were all supporting her, it wouldn't have come across so terrible.
Exactly.
But it was gross.
Right.
And then, so they go up and they come back, and the way they're acting when they get back was laughable, Jamie.
It was the worst.
Katy Perry was such a goon. I can't. Like, that is a woman, a celebrity, who I'm not hating on being a celebrity, but I'm just saying this is an example of a celebrity who doesn't have anyone around her doing anything except like blowing smoke up her ass. Yes. It is very obvious that that's what's going on with her.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
And her just saying like, I just feel so connected to love. And what? You're destroying the planet.
Like, what if you took the money you had to pay to do this and you donated it to like food pantries, or you donated it to like help with the housing crisis, or you like did universal health care, something.
Like anything. Yes. Anything.
One of the many tragic natural disasters, the tragedies relate. Like, you could have done anything with that. That would have been inspiring, Katy.
Yes.
Then we would understand you being connected to love. Right. But you taking a space trip when other people can't eat is stupid. Yeah. Go away. And Gayle King doubling down and trying to shame us for not, and being like, have you gone to space?
And she went full boomer. She went full fucking boomer. She couldn't, and I was watching it and I was like, oh, she can't even like rein it in.
She can't.
No.
She was mad.
She was mad.
She needed to take a beat and understand, you're a journalist, Gayle. You know to do this.
Exactly.
And then go, what's going on, and get all the information. If she had come on and been like, yeah, I get it. It didn't feel like that to me, but I get it.
No, she was like, no, Jeff Bezos is great. He wants to help our planet by taking our trash and putting it into outer space. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, great. That's what I want. Oh, cool. Now I'm on board with this.
Not only are we going to
roller coaster
trash our planet.
What is this, WALL-E? Like, you're going to send the trash into outer space? I don't want that, Gayle.
No, that sounds terrible.
You're not selling me on this.
How about we take that billionaire and have him make his practices and his business less wasteful? Because the amount of waste that Amazon creates is ridiculous.
Atrocious.
It's atrocious. It's like, what? This is why it's embarrassing.
It's so out of touch.
It's so out of touch.
It's awful.
The fact that Gayle was like doubling down and the have you been to space line is like, that's the exact problem, Gayle.
Let them eat space.
Yes.
Let them eat space.
No, we haven't been to space. We can't even get health care. We can't even go to the hospital when we need to because we can't afford it.
No, and we can't buy eggs because our president is taking 30,000 eggs and
during a shortage.
He's not boiling them. He's having his staff boil 30,000 literally eggs and using them for the White House Easter egg hunt. Right. While we go to the store and they're either not on the shelves
or they're
$9 for them.
Yeah. I saw them for $12 yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. I saw them. I was at Whole Foods yesterday and there was literally 2 cartons and the rest was just empty. And I was like, we have 30,000 eggs that are going to be thrown on the White House lawn. Like it's the shit that you see in movies and the shit that you see in history books and TV. And you think, that would never happen. And then you think, I would never let that happen. And here we are, letting it happen. We're still like going to work every day. Yeah. We're still playing the game. We're still in the fucking hamster wheel.
We've been so disempowered that we just don't
numbed out. And like we've been like browbeaten with this abuse of power that we're like, yeah, of course Donald Trump has 30,000 eggs that he's going to waste.
Yeah. And it's just like the critical thinking of the people that still support him is just gone.
It's non-existent.
Because you're going to support him no matter what. You can't eat, your family can't eat, but he can throw 30,000 eggs on the ground and waste them.
Right. It's just
totally fine.
It's a spit in the face.
Yeah. It's really, really troubling. And I wish that it was different. I wish that seeing them go to space and have that moment was fun and inspiring. I wish that was the world we were in.
At a different time, it could have been.
Yeah. I think you sent me a TikTok that was like, they're ruining space now. We had space and
it was like cool. The one thing everybody agreed on was that space was cool. And now they've ruined it.
They've ruined that too. Yeah. It's rough, man. I mean, the beginning of this year, we did an episode where we outlined for you, based on astrology, the shit that was going to go down. We told you. We didn't tell you that idiots were going to go to space, but we told you that the divide was going to get worse. We told you that things were going to keep happening that were brain scratchers. We told you.
Yeah.
It's there. It's recorded. Go listen.
And the thing is, be mad about the space stuff. Be mad about that, yes, because that's a symptom of the problem.
Yeah.
But we also have to really truly sit for maybe just 30 seconds and admit that we are in a constitutional crisis.
Yes.
Right? So it's yes, this space stuff is terrible, but it's also a distraction.
Right.
That our president is blatantly ignoring the judicial branch of our federal government.
I saw a thing that was saying that we have to stop saying things are unconstitutional and start saying they're anti-constitutional. Yes. Because unconstitutional means outside of the Constitution, and anti means it goes directly against the Constitution. Right. And I think when you notice that, even the language of that is important.
Right. Yeah. We have to look at what's really happening here because it's here.
Yeah.
I know I've been saying for months, fascism is here, and people have been like, okay, Jamie.
Yeah. Really for years, but
right. But when you have a sitting president who's ignoring the Supreme Court, it's over. It's over. If nothing is done about that, then democracy's done. It literally, it's done. There's nothing for it to exist upon.
It's dead.
Right.
But we're still going to follow protocol.
Right.
Why?
So we have to admit that. We have to admit that something's wrong, and then we have to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it. And hey, if you're thinking of doing some weird publicity stunt, give us a call and tell us about it, and
we'll be honest with you about it.
We'll tell you the truth.
We won't say yes. We'll be that's a great idea.
Hey, that's not going to go over well.
Correct.
So Gail King, if you want to give us a call and we can explain it to you, happy to further discuss. Yeah. Hey, we had so much to say on this topic. We decided to split it into 2 episodes for you. So tune in next week for more awesome ways that you can use your intuition to guide your own physical health.
Hey everyone, Heather and I have an ask for you. If you love this episode or if you love the IGG, can you do us a favor? We need you to go onto whatever platform you listen on and download, subscribe, love, whatever it's asking you to do. Can you go do those things for us on the platforms that you listen on? It would mean so much to us.
Thanks for listening to our episode. For a way to get in touch with us, please visit our website, intuitivegirlsguide.com. We love hearing your feedback on our episodes.